everybody, Brad Johnson here, and welcome to the next episode of the Akashic Intelligence Report. We have a few more topics that we're going to be exploring today, and again, with my ability to connect with the Akashic Records, we'll be looking a little bit more deeper into them, getting these particular perspectives to be shared in this episode of the report. So, let's go ahead and get started with the first story, and that is the Pope situation. So again, it's all over the world, basically, of Pope Francis passing away. Sure. Guys, he's been dead for a long time, okay? His defeat is much more of a figurehead defeat, okay? But we're going to take a look at this all together because we're going to look into the idea of the new Pope that's being assigned at the same time. Okay, so 1 moment. Yeah, this is a surrender flag. That's what this is. The idea of the transitioning of the old Pope into a new Pope, it's a surrender flag. Vatican is basically being taken over by another particular type of power. Now, I don't know the name of the new Pope. I know he's from the Philippines, but I don't. His name isn't coming to me at the moment. But this is a surrender flag that's taking place. And this goes back into, I think, about a year or so ago, where, of course, they had that volcano. And Adronis predicted this perfectly. He said, this is the coming times of the Vatican losing all of its power. Everything about it is going to change significantly. It's basically being bought out in that way. And there's going to be a new Pope that's going to be assigned. And we're seeing that right now. And the new Pope is from the Philippines. And so this is almost like a transferring over of power. This is an old surrender flag that has happened. Because, like I said, Pope Francis has been dead for quite some time. Persons alive, you wouldn't need to use holograms. Persons alive, you wouldn't need to have constant body doubles of the person all the time. He died quite some time ago. So this is just a figurehead transition. This is a figurehead death, letting people know that the entire nature of the old guard of the Vatican is done for. They're finished. And now a new Pope is taking the place, someone from the Philippines, and is going to take over with all the wealth that they have as well too. It's almost like they've been bought out. It's like a corporation has been bought out. They've cleaned it up, and now they're buying it out, and it's being overhauled. That's the Vatican. Vatican's a corporation, nothing more. But let's take a look at the new Pope and get an idea of what he's about. Again, his name escapes me. I'm pretty sure you guys can mention his name in the comments. Let's go ahead and take a look at the new Pope here, and what he represents. There's going to be a lot of renegotiation with potential allies with the new Pope. This new Pope feels like he's going to be a lot more inviting to the world. There's going to be a lot more, you could say, white hat based operations that they're going to be doing. So the Vatican has basically been bought out. It's been cleaned out. It's been overhauled, and it's basically under new management. And so this new Pope from the Philippines is going to supply all that. I can't say if he has a lot of real power or not. I kind of get the feeling he sort of does and sort of doesn't. But it feels like there's going to be some new administering of, I'm kind of getting the feeling that Vatican is almost like trying to spread its wings, right? And I think there's going to be a lot more controlled-based disclosures coming out of Vatican City at the same time. It's going to be kind of like looking at something that's turning from black to white, right? We're going to see, again, a lot more exposures. We may start to see things being unearthed, so to speak, from the vaults of the Vatican. So I think there's going to be a lot more exposures. It kind of feels like there's a Donald Trump-like figure coming into the Vatican and is going to start exposing a lot of stuff. And probably, who knows? I'm basically just going to get some popcorn and see what happens. But it feels like there's going to be a lot of exposures. There's going to be a lot of releasing of maybe like old artifacts. Maybe there's going to be some scandals that are going to come into the light of the Vatican that's going to come out. That's basically still trying to get a lot of the riffraff that are still in the Vatican that are looking to come out at the same time. So I think cleanup is still ongoing, but it's kind of like looking at a pot where you have all this black liquid and you have this white liquid, and there's more white coming in than the black. That's kind of the feeling I'm getting with the whole Pope situation. But no, Pope Francis has been gone for quite some time. He has already passed away quite some time ago. This is why they've had to resort to holograms and body doubles of him. This is not new, right? Of course, the sheep would buy the idea of thinking that he's gone right now. But that's something that happened quite some time ago. But this is the idea of the falling of a figurehead, right? The old guard that represents the Vatican is dead, and now they're basically just transitioning it into something new. And like I said, I just get the feeling that there's going to be, it's like I'm seeing white wings spreading out throughout the Vatican and touching other lands. Okay, so I think that they're really going to start cleaning up a lot of bloodshed and stained blood all over the Vatican and trying to bring it into a new light, so to speak. Okay, so that's what I'm getting for the Pope situation. And now we're going to go ahead and move on to the second topic, which is the UK to block out the sun. Does that sound familiar to anybody? That's what Bill Gates was spewing years back, especially when looking at just prior to COVID-19. Bill Gates was very much talking about, we need to block out the sun. We got to block out the sun. And now the UK is looking to try it, okay? So the UK is, I'm thinking, the only one who's trying to do it. They're just, this just shows the stupidity of humanity, right? It really does show how stupid they are. They don't try to work with nature. They try to control nature. And when something goes wrong, they blame nature, right? If they truly believe that they have the capability to block out the sun, they're deluding themselves. Nature always finds a way through their problems, right? You're looking at people who are complete morons compared to nature that is infinitely intelligent. Okay, but we're going to look at this anyways, because this is just another type of geoengineering that they've been trying to do for quite some time. So let's take a look at that. The UK to block out the sun. Is this going to happen? No. It's going to get foiled, and if they do try to go through it, there's going to be complications. They're not going to be successful with doing it. My feeling is that there's going to be a lot of obstacles that are going to get into the way. There's even a lot of scientists who are even thinking that their whole idea is completely absurd, right? Which is good to see. But whoever the Bill Gates sleeping in the closet with scientists are thinking, this plan is not going to see the light of day. No pun intended, okay? So the UK to block out the sun, I'm not seeing it happen. I'm feeling that they're going to try and push it and try to make it happen. That's not the reason at all why they think, oh, well, the sun is behind global warming. No, global warming is nothing but a bunch of crap, right? Your climate change is nothing but a bunch of stupidity because it's an agenda, right? What's their climate change? Climate change equals geoengineering. They are trying to geoengineer the planet so that the planet serves them, right? They're trying to change the weather. They're trying to block out the sun. They're trying to make it all possible because the natural cycle of the Earth, the natural cycle of the solar system, all of this complements humanity's growth. You can't change it. They think they can. That's how stupid they are, right? They think they got all this technology and the technology is the way. And like I said, they're not even really getting this technology from human beings. They're getting this technology from other beings beyond the Earth. They're probably even getting some technology from interdimensionals at the same time. This is not even their technology. But it's not going to work. It's one out of so many other plans that are just going to be foiled, that is going to be disrupted, that's going to completely abolish itself. So I wouldn't be concerned too much about them trying to block out the sun. It can't be done. You might as well try and stop the sun from rising and setting. You can't do it. I don't care what kind of fancy nanoparticle technology or whatever it is that they have that they're trying to do. It's just not going to fit. And just to do a follow-up on this, about if there are any other attempts on trying to block out the sun. It's been something that's been cooking up in their laboratories for decades, right? And they've actually been spending billions of dollars in laboratories to find out how they can either scatter sun rays or try to block out the sun or try to dim the sun in that particular way, because their sun is the enemy. Why is the sun the enemy? Because it is a catalyst to transmutation. It literally causes the shifting of DNA. It causes DNA to mutate. You can actually find this in laboratories. Exposing sunlight to DNA directly will cause it to transmute. It is a transmutational process that the sun actually does with our own genetics. And that threatens their plans, because this is awakening. This is resetting our own genetics. This is resetting our own patterns of how we think, of how we act, of how we behave. Everything's being reset by the sun. So their sun is the sun is their enemy, and they want to block it out. We don't want people to grow. We don't want people to evolve. You give me a break. You guys are the most ignorant, black-hearted, selfish pieces of garbage there is. Right? Because there's nothing to justify this plan. Does not matter whether it's, climate change. Give me a break. Geoengineering. That's basically what you might as well say instead. Well, we got to geoengineer the earth because we want to control it. We don't want to work with nature. We want to control her. That's all they're doing. They're trying to put a leash around the planet. They're trying to put a leash around the sun. They're trying to put a leash around the entire galaxy, around the entire universe. It needs to work for man. The arrogance and the ignorance of these people is it's beyond words to even say. It's beyond stupidity. It is beyond ignorance. It is beyond arrogance. This is the ego in its prime form, right? And that's what they try to do. They want to try and control everything. They want to control the weather. They want to control the sunlight. They want to control this. They got to control. They don't understand how nature works, so we got to control it. We got to put it in a box. We got to tell it that we're going to decide when you can shine. We're going to decide exactly when the sun shines. We're going to decide exactly what type of weather goes over here and what weather goes over there. It's just unbelievable arrogance. And all of this type of technology that they've been playing with isn't even theirs. All the breakthrough technology that we have today isn't even our technology. It's basically from space. It's basically from star ancestors. It's all reverse engineered. All of this hoopla of the technology of today is back engineered extraterrestrial technology. What you're watching right now through here to see me here is back engineered extraterrestrial technology. Your phone, your tablet, your laptop, your mouse, all forms of big tech are back engineered, sloppy technology that has come from the stars. Pretty much everything you're using, back engineered extraterrestrial technology, right? It's not even ours. It's not our stuff. But we're taking it and we're making it all these things. Because again, going back into the earlier times, before Nikola Tesla, who was really the genius who was transforming everything, right? We just didn't know how to put anything together. And then it's like after he left, we're starting to see all these different civilizations coming in and starting to offer technology for, well, very, very horrible things, abductions and experiments and so forth, okay? So they basically dangled a technological carrot to our governments. They grabbed it. It's not even like the best technology either. It's just simple little knickknacks and gizmos and gadgets. And then they turn it into certain things, right? And over the years, it started to get a little bit more. But all of this with geoengineering, that's extraterrestrial technology. That's been around for millions of years. Climate change technology, yes, that's been around for millions of years within the galactic communities. It's nothing. That's like giving someone a toaster. Right? They utilize these particular technologies because they can go upon different spheres, different planets, and they can help to maintain itself, to help repair it and bring it back into healthy status. And it's far more advanced than what these nutcases have, right? But it actually helps to revive. They actually use it for good. They actually help to revive worlds with this particular technology. They don't weaponize this crap. And that's exactly what these idiots who are basically in Bill Gates's closet are thinking, right? Thinking that, the sun's a threat, and I can see through your BS, you guys. It's not hidden from me, right? All you're trying to do is try to block out the sun so that you can prevent people from evolving. And it's just another form of control so that you can have a leash around the planet, so that you can have a leash around the sun, so that you can have a leash around the entire star system. Then you're going to start interfering with different magnetics, and you're going to try and interfere with the way the astrological alignment of the planets are aligning. And you're going to try and mess with that, right? And you're going to look much more towards the galaxy. Can we start manipulating all the other stars and blah, blah, blah. That's why exactly humanity is under quarantine. because we're so effing stupid right now, right? We were out and about in the galaxy, we'd be seen as the biggest idiots. It's like looking at these insane asylum members getting out of an insane asylum and just spreading themselves throughout the stars. It's exactly why we're contained, because of stupid effing idiots like this, right? And that's just basically calling it like it is. You have to be some particular type of psychotic, idiotic, ignorant fool to actually even want to try and pull something like this off, right? It shows there is no respect in nature in these people's hearts, if they even have one. They don't listen to nature. They don't want to work with nature. They don't want to try to understand nature. They want to control it. They even know what's going on, but they still do this. Now that's next level stupidity. So there you have it. Let's move on.
What do the stars have planned for you? Find out at predictmyastrology.com. Sign up for a free personalized daily Vedic horoscope and see what your cosmic blueprint has in store for you. Order a personal mantra meditation reading to empower your energy. Explore love compatibility readings, get answers with an astrology question report, or dive deep with topic-based insights. Discover what's ahead with your 2025 annual report, or experience the all-in-one deluxe report. Let us predict your astrology. Visit predictmyastrology.com.
Private one-to-one sessions have returned with Brad Johnson and Adronis, with appointment times from 30, 45, and 60 minutes online. Offline sessions, including the 3 questions by email and distance healing, are now available. Book your session now through our website, wisdomtransmissions.com.
Okay, so the next topic is canceling negative timelines. So here's the good news. There is a reason why all this crap is coming out publicly, because we're going to change it, okay? So if I'm utilizing it like a center point here, where we have an event, and then we have a branch. If nobody really knows what this branch is up to, it could lead to another trigger point that could lead to a catastrophe. Okay, let's just say an explosion here. Here we go. Right? It could lead to a catastrophe. And the reason why this happens is because no one is aware of this, and nobody is able to look at this as being something that's catastrophic, that leads into another trigger point that leads to this explosion of a catastrophe. So here's the good news. This is actually why this is a good thing. We start looking at a timeline like this, and it's being brought out into the public, okay? Whether it's through any particular type of news site, whether it's through the MSM, whether it's through opposition media, which we'll get into here shortly, wherever it's coming from, doesn't matter. It's something that's capturing millions and millions of people's attention. And immediately, we decide, screw that, there's no way that's going to happen. And it's almost like there's a thought vote that comes out. You don't even have to take any action on it. And I've talked about this before. You don't even need to take any action on these things that are happening, because all it requires is that thought. That thought that dismisses this timeline. This is the whole idea. You don't think that a thought is a big deal. Thought's a huge deal. Okay? The thought that you think relating to a timeline like this that has the opportunity to be catastrophic, the thought that comes out of your mind that defies that, extinguishes it, particularly in the majority sense. This is actually where we're getting favors. Regardless of what it is, if we're looking at something as outrageous and ridiculous as the UK trying to block out the sun, which again, they will fail, but nonetheless, they're trying, okay? Having this thought action, right? It's just a thought action. It's just like you have the thought, and then you play out the action in your head and say, forget it, we're not going to do this. I'm not going to play with this at all. That's how you cancel out timelines. Awareness of events that you know have the opportunity to be catastrophic are being canceled out by the average man, woman, and child across the planet, because this is reaching millions of people. That's a great strategy. And this is how a lot of these oligarchs worked in the old days. They would tell nobody about what they're doing. And they could get away with so much. You can't do that nowadays, right? There's just eyes and ears everywhere. So this altogether gets canceled out. And it gets turned into a timeline that is much more favorable based upon the collective thought pertaining to that event, right? So rather than that, we now have another timeline that comes together that omits something like this. And now the sun remains untouched. Our skies remain untouched, so to speak, right? So that's the whole idea. That's why this is going to fail, okay? That's why when there's a lot of elections and they're doing everything they can to try and spew fear at people, trying to yell at people and say, come on, this is we're the best for all of you. We're what's best for the country. And people just kind of keep seeing more scandals, more criminal activity, more embezzlements, more money laundering, right? More handing people to bounty hunters in foreign countries and so forth. They see that and they say, this guy is nothing but a flat out liar. I don't want anything to do with him, right? And even though the minority are suckered like sheep to that figure, the majority who have brains in their heads say, X, forget it. We don't want to have anything to do with this guy, okay? And the good news is that's the majority. Majority of people are getting out of their sheep mentality. There's going to be the minority that's going to remain that are still a lot of sheep, right? And like I said, their world's just going to keep falling apart because, like I said, people are reaching out their hand, they're smacking it away. No, the government's going to save me. The government's going to take care of me. This leader is going to take care of me. I don't want things to change. And they're so ignorant, not realizing what is happening to people around them, not what's happening to the country around them, not realizing any of these things because they care about their own selfish desires. And unfortunately, that's the minority. In a way, maybe it's just a good thing because the majority are actually thinking about the country. The majority are actually not only thinking of themselves, but other people. They're thinking about how the country can prosper. And that's how we've awoken, right? But you have these selfish minority who just want things to stay the way that they are because they're afraid of change. They don't think about themselves. They don't put themselves in other people's shoes. They only care about their own self-interests, making them no better than the figure themselves that has already been proven to be corrupt. And the minority is corrupt with them. Your ignorance is not your excuse for a bailout. It's not a get-out-of-jail-free card. You will sink with the ship to what they're on. Right? So you continue to play around with this arrogance and this ignorance of thinking that this figure is going to bail you out. You're beyond stupid. Right? And this is the whole idea, is that boat that's here, that's now capsized, is now sinking with its ass up in the water, right? And you're just sinking and falling off the boat. Even when people want to try and hold out their hand and rescue you, you just fall right off the ship and you're in the water and you're drowning without a life preserve because they won't give one to you. Nope, let them take care of it. Here's the leader right here. Brave leader, please help us. And all he's really doing is pulling out a gun and just shooting everybody so he can save himself, so he's the last one on board. And that's who these people get behind. They get behind a psychopath who can do this, who can wear a nice suit, who can basically spew the same kind of promises that their opposition is promising people. And in the end, he's just opening fire and taking everybody out so he can be the last man standing on the boat. That's what you guys in the minority are supporting. Do you have a brain? I mean, that's really what I would ask them. Do you guys even have a brain? Do you even have independent thought, or are you so far gone, you might as well be starring in the next episode of Night of the Living Dead, right? The Walking Dead, right? So get yourself in a zombie movie because you're basically able to go on in the movie without any makeup. You just play the character. Looking for brains. So there you go. That's exactly what is happening here in canceling out these timelines. The good news is the majority of the planet is completely behind it, right? We know where there's catastrophe. We know these things that are foul, that are false, that are only going to lead to more problems, that's only going to lead to more suffering. And just us casting a thought vote is enough. That's how timelines get cleaned out. Why? Because timelines are not physical. They are a subtle thing. They govern the physical, but the timelines altogether pertaining to event fractals are thought-based, which means thought counts pertaining to how they play themselves out. So the collective majority here is leading the ship forward past all of these timelines that have been catastrophic. This is why I keep saying, guys, stop worrying about all these catastrophic events that you think you're having. The world is waking up. The majority is making the decisions, and they're making good decisions to cancel these things out. That's not going to be your future. And all that's going to happen is you're just trying to create a bubble within yourself to where the future just causes you to be in this situation. People you think are so honest are nothing but criminals. Guys, as I said, every single human system on this planet is weaponized. Every single one. And you think these jabronis have your best interest at heart? Wake the F up. Get out of your slumber and think of other people other than yourselves. Right? Work with the majority. And I'm talking to the minority here that are defending ass clowns like this. One of them being Carney in Canada, one of the biggest ass clowns on the planet. So there you go. And like I said, there's going to be elections that are going to be held in different countries, and everybody will have their Joe Biden. Everybody will have their Kamala Harris. Everybody will have their Carney boy, right? Might as well be a carny at a carnival because he's ripping everybody off, right? So this is what I mean, is getting out of this stupidness, this mind control programming that has been daunting upon us for such a long, long time, for centuries. And there's going to be those who are going to come out of it, who are going to snap out of it, and there's a lot of us out there that are actually shaking people. It's like, will you get out of this stupid head with this hypnotic programming that you're getting involved with? Right? We're just grabbing people by the shoulders. Like, get out of there. Is there anything in here? Hello? Are you an NPC? What's going on here? Are you a clone? Right? Were you grown in a lab? What's going on here? How can you not see this stuff? So I know I'm not alone. We're all grabbing people and we're shaking them like they're a magic 8-ball. Right? And then there's an out of order sign that comes on their head and says, "We're sorry, this unit is out of power. Please try again later." That's basically their spiel right there. So anyways, the point being made is that the good news is we are canceling out negative timelines. A lot of these things that look horrible, that look horrifying, are not going to see the light of day, especially throughout 2025. They all have short lifespans. They are going to fall very quickly. Even if they're trying to get it off the ground, it will not succeed. All right, let's go to the last topic. Okay, so for our last topic here is MSM and opposition media. Okay, so I'm just going to do an Akashic reading on the mainstream media to see exactly what is ahead for them, right? Is there going to be significant changes taking place for the MSM? And I'll just branch this over to this square. Here we go. And one moment. It's a work in progress. It's almost like looking at some of these MSMs that are kind of letting in a lot of things that have previously been conspiracy theories. So they're starting to open their dam a little bit more. But there's still going to be, of course, censorship and disruption and problems and garbage that they're still spewing. It's kind of like they're kind of like a kid on a seesaw with another kid, right? You got the seesaw here, you got one kid here, you got the other kid here. They're playing on the seesaw and they're just taking turns going up and down, up and down, up and down. The media is not the media, and again, I'm not telling a lot of you anything new. We pretty much already know that. The media is nothing more than this playground. Up and down, up and down. They will always have scripts. They will always have certain things that they can and cannot say. They will always have certain things pertaining to censorship. Even when we're saying there's no censorship, if they do take that down, there's still going to be censorship within reason, right? And there's going to be certain stories that they cannot touch because that goes against the program, right? So again, Adronis has talked about that before when we're looking at the program that represents the entire planet, right? So the entire Earth has this program around it. And that program is what's causing people, again, fortunately it's just the minority, but still causing people to be brainwashed, to basically see that everything pertaining to themselves belongs to a system. Adronis basically calls it the system, right? And here's the system here. And this system has operated for a very long time. And it's all part of programming, it's all part of vibration, it's all part of frequencies, it's all part of energies, it's all been aligned in this way. It's purposeful, it's intent, all right? A lot of people will call it the simulation. And in a way it is. We can call it the system, we can call it the program, we can call it the simulation, whatever you want to call it. It's programming, right? But this programming is artificialized based upon the amount of energetics, vibrations, frequencies, energies, so forth, that are bombarding the planet, that are being utilized in regards to different proxies that are coming through, that operate themselves either in our coherent dimension or in pocket dimensions and so forth, that are basically keeping this system, program, simulation going. Okay, so when people talk about simulations, life's a simulation, stuff like that, I wouldn't say life's a simulation, but Earth's a simulation. Okay, I can't say about life. Life, I do not feel is a simulation, but Earth most definitely is a simulation. Okay, so that's as far as I'm willing to stretch on that. Okay, but again, anyways, you have MSM and opposition media that are following the rules. But Brad, there's the opposition media, right? We have certain people like Joe Rogan, we have certain people like Candace Owens, we have all these different people that are trying to get out this knowledge. You're right. But they're still playing by rules, and they're still playing by scripts, and there's certain things they can't say. So they're just as controlled as these guys are. Maybe just a little bit less. But they're still controlled. Opposition media. Because there's stuff that they could be sharing that would be absolutely devastating for the majority of the planet to share, to actually hear, coming out of someone's mouth. They don't want to take that chance. A lot of them have been approached by actual whistleblowers who have spent time within these bloodline families, who have spent time within these oligarchs, that could blow the lid off any particular news story that's on right now 1,000-fold. And these guys don't want to risk their reputation for it. And it's a lot of stuff that I've already talked about on this channel for years, right? Talking about the bloodline families, talk about the bankers, talk about how they've been fueling wars, how everything in regards to this planet pertaining to conflict has been engineered, how the entire money system has been engineered, how everything pertaining to every human system on this planet has been completely and totally engineered, and how everything is just a business. Right? And a lot of us may hear that, but this is even going a lot more deeper about what these bloodline families are up to, about what all of these oligarchs are up to, how they run things, what they're trying to do, what their plans are next, etc. We could have people that can come on the air that can tell us this stuff. And you have the big opposition media that has the platform, that has millions and millions of people following, and they could let it out, but they don't. And that includes Joe Rogan, and that includes Candace Owens, and that includes whoever else you want to name who's big on those scenes, right? And they won't. Because they're scared to death. They feel that they're going to get killed, right? There is so much knowledge that comes out. This is exactly what's happened. This is exactly what the system has done. People who are trying to create a following, who is trying to go into the deeper knowledge and the deeper understanding, they end up dead. That's what happens. They may get a phone call and say, hey, stop what you're doing. We'll buy out your thing. You'll get $1 million. We'll take care of it, but you never talk about this stuff again. And they say, screw you, I'm not doing it. I'm going to tell everybody about what you're doing. and then they end up dead. And that's what these guys are scared to death of. Joe Rogan's scared to death of it. Candace Owens is scared to death of it. Tucker Carlson is scared to death of it. That's why they will only give about information that's within the boundaries of keeping themselves safe. Which means there's nothing about them that are heroes at all. A person who truly represents those heroics will definitely put their life on the line to realize this is something bigger than themselves. Fortunately, I don't have that information. I haven't been given privy to that information. What I get from the Akashic information that comes together with you, well, you see it on my channel. But I don't have millions and millions and millions of subscribers. If I did, I'd certainly be on their radar. I get on average with these videos 4,000, 5,000 views. Very tiny, not really a threat. To heck with them, right? But if I had 3 million, 4 million followers on my channel, and I start talking about what I'm talking about right now, my life would be in danger. Okay? But I don't have that kind of following. These guys do, right? Opposition media, they have millions and millions of followers. People are praising them like they're the best thing since sliced bread. No offense to a lot of them, but they're cowards. They're almost as big as cowards as these guys because they're not putting other people first. They have this amazing traffic. They got millions and millions of people following them, but they're cowards. Simple as that. When a person actually comes along and has this information and realizes that they have something to do with it, number one, they will be protected. They'll be protected by divine forces, right? They'll be protected by that internal army, so to speak, right? I've had psychic attacks on me going back years, right? And been able to take care of it because you know you're provided for, you know you're supported, right? I wish I certainly had these big followings like they do. So I would certainly love to reveal a lot of stuff just like what I've been revealing on this channel to millions of you, but I don't get that, right? And I've been trying. I've really been trying to get a lot of people following this channel, but it's not. It's a niche channel, and I've come to terms with that. But nonetheless, when you have that particular type of power bestowed upon you, where you are a voice of millions of people, there's a certain responsibility that you have to have. And unfortunately, a lot of them are just a bunch of chicken shits. Because they are. They're following scripts. They're just listening to whatever the system wants them to say. And they're not going to go beyond it. In one episode, they could tell about the entire situation of the oligarchs. They could talk about the entire situation of the bloodline families. They could talk about their entire plans and how they could be foiled. And all of this would be over. But they don't. Because they're controlled shills just like these guys. So if you think those guys are doing a really good duty, they're doing somewhat responsible stuff, but they're playing by the scripts. It's all scripts. This is why I say, guys, this is nothing but a 3-ring circus. That's what this BS is. That's what all of this is. That's what these man-made systems are. They are 3-ring system bullshit. It's not real. This is not real. This is not real. You are real. But this crap that you're being spoon-fed every single day is just a bunch of useless garbage. It's all just to maintain the simulation of the system. And thinking that that's how we get our news. No, as I've told everybody, you go in here and you're free. You go in here and everything comes to you. How do you think I'm able to do all this stuff? Because it comes in here. I'm not listening to what Candace Owens is saying. I'm not listening to what Tucker Carlson or Joe Rogan are saying. Couldn't care less. They're shills. And they're no better than these guys. Because they're following scripts. And if you guys want to prove me wrong, then go talk to some of these whistleblowers who want to come out and tell you the full truth, and you go ahead and you air them. And see then where you stand. Otherwise, you're no better than friggin' CNN. Right? So that's the thing that we have to realize. This is a three-ring circus. It is a system. It is fake. Nothing about it is real. It is all to serve agendas of a system. A system that serves certain humans, a system that serves ETs, a system that serves dimensionals, a system that serves rogue AI, weaponized AI, all of it. And this is exactly what's attempting to be busted down. But it's going to take some time, right? And what we have to do is help those who can't even help themselves. Because the whole world needs to demand for this. They need to go to their beloved little heroes in the opposition media and say, tell me all about this. Tell me all about these other whistleblowers who are trying to come on to tell you about the entire ancient history of the bloodline families, to how this whole thing was manufactured and their defeat, which is now imminent. Tell me about it. Oh, we can't do that. We can't do that. Just stop talking about it. That's what they're doing. No better than CNN. No better than MSNBC or Fox News or whatever. Left, right, Democrat, Republican, who gives a crap? That's all system garbage. The only thing that's real is the center. It's right here. That's where we want to be if we want to know the truth. So there you go. That is the episode today of the Akashic Intelligence Report. I kind of hope I have struck a nerve, because we need answers for this three-ring circus. People need to hear about it, because that's all this crap is. Three-ring circus to serve a system that is looking to be taken down. And it will be. But we have an opportunity to do it a lot quicker if we come together. Thanks for watching. Take care. Namaskar. May be well with you. Bye for now.
Let me hear the wisdom transmissions. The wisdom transmissions. So many voices, so many interpretations.